What were my favourite art materials in 2003? Well, I'm glad you asked, 'cause that's what today's video is about. My favourite art materials right now. Anyway, you're watching Sketching the World with me, Kat. I'm a writer and artist from Australia, but my dream is to sketch the world. And today I'm talking about my favourite materials. So, I'll start with sketchbooks. Sketchbooks, I really want to start getting through all the sketchbooks that I've got that aren't my absolute favourites, so that I can just focus on using my favourites, the ones that I love the most. And that would include this one, the Fabriano 1264. I love this pad. I love its versatility. Use it with a lot of different materials. It's really great with inks, like there's no bleed through or anything with inks. It's great with coloured pencils. It's great with gouache and various materials, markers, oil pastel. What do I use on that? I think that's a bit of oil pastel with ink pens over the top. I'd say you could use this with just about any kind of dry media and with most wet medias. And it comes out like this. I've used really, really highly concentrated ink and nothing at all bled through. So I think in the coming year, well, I'm not sure when you'll be watching this, but in 2024, I want to start using these a lot more. I might stock up on them when I can. And Fabriano, always perfect. Well, usually perfect. I haven't tried using watercolor, maybe for a bit of spot color, or if I'm doing a, what do you call it? Where you do with ink and then you put paint on. That kind of thing. Well, definitely be using this. Other favourite sketchbook is the Moleskine Square Sketch Album. I've talked about this before. I think every time when I'm packing to travel, I talk about the Square Moleskine because it's very portable, great size. I quite often use it just balanced on my handbag. And I find ink is a bit funny on this. It can go like a bit dotty with the paper, but it is good for most materials, and I've used it for a lot of my travel sketching. So they are my two favourite. Also, I've got a few that I like for watercolour, but I've got a whole video on that. So yeah, it's probably better to refer to that. Now let's move on to other materials. I actually want to, as part of this, combine talking about my favourite materials with getting my art trolley cleaned up. I've got the art trolley here. It's got stuff in it that I use quite infrequently on the top level, and I want to get all that sort of put down to other levels so that the stuff that's most accessible to me is the stuff that I use all the time, rather than having, like, I've got a whole lot. I'll just get this and show you. Fine liners. I don't use fine liners that much, and yet these are all on the top level of my trolley, and so they're taking up space. It could be taken up by stuff that I actually really love using. So let's go through this now. Fine liners. I do like using fine liners, but I would not be putting them in my favourite materials. If I had to pick one, this one. It's got a chisel tip. I'm not sure how well that's coming up. I left the lid off it, so I have to buy another one because it's sadly dying. But you can get a lot of different marks with that chisel tip, so it's a great pen to use. So next up, something I really got into this year is the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolour markers. I was using the Ecoline markers a lot, these guys, the Ecoline brush pens, but something that was really frustrating me is that these run out of colour really quickly. and I'd be in the middle of a drawing session and they'd go flat, and then I'd be like, well, what do I do now? You can refill these, which is good, but I mean, if you're in a time drawing session or something, you don't want to be getting out your bottle of Ecoline ink and filling your pens up. You really need to do that when you've got a bit of time and it's quiet, and yeah, you don't want to spill the ink everywhere. And it can be a bit hard, a bit fussy. It's not really hard to do, but it is fussy. A lot of fiddling around. So yeah, I was looking for an alternative to the Ecolines and got really into these guys. These have a lot more water solubility. The Ecolines are water soluble, but you really need to work fast. Like if you want to add water to the Ecoline pens, you need to do it straight away, whereas with these, yeah, you can come back a week later and still activate them with water. I mean, these are watercolor markers, but I don't think they're meant to be like a watercolor, like, you know, something that is soluble, whereas these are. So yeah, I've got a bunch of those and haven't regretted buying any of them. Albrectura watercolor markers for the win. Then I've got a bunch of other materials. Oh, I also got onto, well, we're talking about Faber-Castell, the Pitt Artist Jewel Marker. I mean, I've got this whole thing of fine liners, but with these, you're getting double the bang for your buck because you've got that. That's a marker end. You can go around and use that the same as you would the Ecolines. It's not water soluble, so you can't mix it with water. And then you've got like the fine liner and jewel markers. They are great when you're out on location and you want to, yeah, quickly get down a scene, and you can do it. You've got the two, what am I trying to say? They're great. These are great when you're sketching on location because you've got like basically a marker pen and a fine liner, but it's in one, so it's taking up a lot less space in your art kit, and you're not having as many materials you have to rifle through. You just can grab this out. I mean, I usually take out this one, that's the burnt sienna, I think it is, cinnamon, the ice blue, and I've got one in a darker blue that I probably won't be able to find. Yeah, it's not anywhere handy. I've got a darker blue, and that's enough to do all my sketching for the day. So they are the best. And then this is not going to come to a shock to anyone who's a regular viewer of my channel, but I really love the Caran luminance pencils. My favourite. And my favourite colour is one I'm not going to be able to find because they're all so tiny. I use them so much. Here it is, the dark indigo. It is one of the most versatile art materials I own. Use it a lot. It's great for layering. So yeah, my favourite art material, the best art material of the year. Ooh. And then there are some other, I mean, I like all of the luminance pencils. I like this, or most of them. I like the soft and creaminess of them. I just love using them. I love the colour range, but there are a few colours that I love more than others. I should cover their ears so they don't hear me say that. Also, if you've watched any of my videos, recent videos, you know that this is something I've been onto lately, and that is the Derwent drawing pencils. Again, really creamy. And I mean, you can use them with the luminance. Of course, you can use any material with any other material. There's no sort of material police coming around saying you can't do that. It would be kind of funny if it was, though. Like, imagine you're using your art materials and you get a knock on the door. Oh no, it's the police. I've come to say that I can't mix my luminance with my polychromos. And then you'll go running out the door like it's a raid. I can't find the rest of my drawing pencils, and that's because I was doing some stuff with them the other day and I put them somewhere strange. So you just have to take my word and the word of this one pencil. I wonder where I did put them. Oh, I think I put them in with the other pencils, our communal pencils. And they're over there. So I'm doing a video soon all about the Derwent pencils, so I won't go too far into that anyway. Now, materials I loved. This pencil, look at it. Oh, 4 colours in one. I found this just such a good pencil to use. Especially if you're on location, you're drawing at the market, which I do quite often, or somewhere like that, and you've done a detailed sketch of the foreground, like you're doing nice detailed sketch, I hear, much more detailed than that, and then you want to sort of show that the background has got, there's things going on in the background, but you don't want to sit and spend like, 5 hours drawing in the background. You just want to give an indication that there's busy stuff happening. So you can just sort of do a bit of scribble with this. And yeah, it really gives the illusion of busy stuff happening. That's how I describe it. Busy stuff. So yeah, that's my tops in pencils. I've got a few that I bought recently that I haven't really put through their paces. This one was in my New York art haul, and these are quite nice pencils. These Koi no Hartmouth, and I think once I get a chance to use them more, I'll really love them. So that's all there is for pencils. The Museum Aquarelle, I don't use much, and I kind of feel like I would like using them if I did, but I mean, you can't do everything. You can't be using all your materials all the time. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes you just need to focus on a few primary materials, and the others can take the back seat for a while. So yeah, that's the main materials I've been loving this year. And there's one other that I bought this year. I've been really enjoying using oil pastels this year of all types. I actually have been looking back over some of the pictures I've done this year, and I found the stuff I do in crayon, whether it's in oil pastels or neocolors, has a lot more energy, a lot more vibrancy. There's just something really nice about, yeah, the kind of energy in my oil pastel sketches, or my crayon sketches. So that's something I want to use a lot more in the coming year. They need to be where I can grab them at all times so that I am using them a lot more and getting that energy happening, because art is all about energy. With the crayons, the various crayons and that I've got, I found these ones. I bought these in my Prime Day art haul. I've got a whole video of that, about these, and these Art Philosophy oil pastels, and I just love them. I love the colour range in them. They're water soluble, which is really interesting, and I feel like I have only just started scratching the surface of what I can do with these pastels. I will definitely be using them a lot in the coming year. And so yeah, they're my number one in pastels. I've also got these, which are the Mungyo oil pastels. These are the jumbo ones. I haven't used these much. They're great though because they're so bulky. And then I've got some other smaller, I've got a whole box full of pastels. And then I've got all my neocolors. But yeah, these are the ones I want to focus on. These are the ones I want to build a relationship with. That sounds very serious, doesn't it? So yeah, as far as favourite art materials go, these would be the winners. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, and I'll put you away. I would also say that the acrylic gouache, I love acrylic gouache more and more. And also the watercolors. I did my whole series where I was trying to become better at watercolors. I do like the Sennelier. I do like the Schminke. My unwashed palette. Yeah, so these would be my go-to choices. I've also discovered since doing that whole series on getting better at watercolor that I really do prefer tube paints to the half pans. I find half pans are a bit annoying because you have to get them all activated and everything, and that annoys me, to be honest. I would much rather use, and the tube paints, I don't know, there's just something nice about them. They're my go-to. I mean, I probably wouldn't take them if I was out travelling and painting on location, but definitely for at home in the studio. So yeah, these are my favourite materials. I haven't put the acrylic gouache in mainly because they're all packed away at the moment, and I'm having trouble walking, as I mentioned before. Yeah, it's quite funny actually, because when I'm looking at the materials that I've actually bought this year, I've spent a lot of money on I've bought a lot of markers, and markers seem to be my go-to thing to buy when I'm in an art shop, but they're not actually something that I do use a lot. Like I've got all these kind of, like this kind of thing, and this. So I'm going to have to make a mental note to stop buying stuff like that when I go into art shops and spend my time and money more on the things that I do love using. Thanks for watching. I'd love it if you left comments telling me what your favourite art materials are, because I always love to know that kind of thing. Just remember, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to my channel already, hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Bye!